Actor Tim Allen has had a great career where he's been lucky enough to play some very iconic characters. He has been Tim, the Toolman Taylor, Space Ranger, Buzz Lightyear, and the big guy himself, Santa Claus. Speaking of Santa Claus, that is actually the film that we are going to be discussing in this video. So let's get it. Hi, I'm Lenny, and in this video I'm going to be discussing the film The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen. This was released in 1994 by Walt Disney Pictures. It's rated PG, and it's an hour and 37 minutes. Scott Calvin, played by Tim Allen, is divorced from his wife, and he's a big shot up-and-comer at the B&R Toy Company. And unfortunately, Scott Calvin is more interested in his own life than that of his young son, Charlie. This year, Charlie is going to be spending Christmas Eve and Christmas morning with Scott. Both of them aren't 100% excited or thrilled to be doing so, but this is a night that's going to change both of their lives for the better. Hearing a clatter up on the roof, Scott Calvin rushes outside and accidentally startles Santa Claus, who's up there with his reindeer, spooks him, he slips, he falls, he perishes away or passes away, and disappears like it's the rapture right in front of him. With Charlie's help and by finding a business card with instructions on it in the old Santa Claus robe pocket, Scott Calvin, or SC, must finish the job and then become the new Santa Claus. These are some notes, some things of interest, some things that I've noticed while watching this film that I enjoy. Very interesting tidbit here. Even before Scott Calvin becomes the new Santa Claus, hidden throughout the film in various scenes, and especially right in the beginning, there's elves hidden throughout different areas. Real elves, or as real as they can be, but elves amongst children and amongst people. You notice the first one, there's a girl elf looking at the toy store window, and there's also an elf that you come across in a restaurant. And this is before Scott becomes Santa Claus. So it's kind of a fun game when you go back and do rewatchings of this movie. Basically what you got is you got a holiday version of Where's Waldo with multiple elves scattered throughout the film. I'll give you a hint. Look for the ears. So Scott actually does try to prepare a good meal for his son Charlie. I think he's a little off base with the estimation of time that it's going to take to cook a full turkey dinner, a full spread. It almost looks like a Thanksgiving meal. But he burns everything, which results in them, Scott and Charlie, having to go to America's favorite diner, and that is Denny's. Within this Denny's, you see other fathers and other children who are looking miserable. I don't know if we're supposed to assume that these guys are also shitty dads, just like how Scott is not the best dad, or they're horrible cooks, or some of each. But what I can tell you with 100% certainty is that if you go to Denny's, you definitely have to get the pancake balls. Indulge in them. They are delicious. They are mwah. Pancake balls. Get them. Delicious. Good. So I want to mention this. How crappy of a Santa Claus do you have to be to easily get startled by someone yelling, "Hey you," slipping off the roof into a large pack of snow and then biting the dust? You gotta be a pretty crappy Santa Claus. And I almost feel like this was like his way out. Like this dude didn't want the job to begin with and was just like kind of looking for an easy out. The interesting thing about this Santa Claus is once Scott replaces him, nobody seems to care or no one's upset that the former Santa Claus is gone. So I think basically everyone knew that this guy sucked and it was only a matter of time. All right, we got our first drug reference coming up here, which is probably gonna go over the kids' heads, but that's all right. When Scott grabs Santa's sack, sounds a little bit different when you say it out loud. Grabs Santa's sack. But he does grab his sack. Grabs it good. Grabs it real good. When Scott grabs Santa's sack and it begins to float up and take him to the first chimney, young Charlie yells out, "Dad, you're flying!" To which Scott replies, "It's okay. I lived through the 60s. Oh, drugs. We get to meet the elf Bernard. Actually, I apologize because he's not just an elf. He is the head elf He deserves a lot more respect from that. So Bernard, I apologize. You are the head elf, good sir. Scott Calvin meets Bernard, the head elf, who explains the situation to him and actually explains the Santa Claus. C-L-A-U-S-E. That's how you spell Santa Claus. That's how, not you don't spell Santa Claus, but you spell the clause with C-L-A-U-S-E. Bernard, the elf, explains the deets to Scott Calvin, the rules about the Santa Claus. And since Scott Calvin accidentally killed the old Santa and put on the robe, he is now destined to become the new Santa Claus. This is great exposition to have, and it describes what's going to be taking place within the film. Important stuff. Meanwhile, while Bernard is explaining all this important exposition, all I keep thinking about is how Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC looks like Bernard when Chris was trying to rock those stupid ass braids and he thought he looked really, really, really good and he didn't. I can't get that image out of my head now. If we were going to do a case of who wore it best though, I would have to go with Bernard because Bernard is a natural and he pulls it off. Sorry, Chris Kirkpatrick. Justin Timberlake's not here to save you this time. Bee sting. Evidently, I'm allergic. Scott is walking down the street. He is looking more and more like Santa, and he's also getting Santa's ability to know people's names and know if they have been naughty or nice. As he's walking down the street, an attractive lady in a red business skirt suit, if that's even a real thing. Red skirt suit. I'm going with that. She's wearing a red skirt suit. As she's passing by Scott, Scott says, "Veronica, very nice." To which Veronica replies, "In your dreams, sleigh boy." Get it? It's a play on words because it's like not Playboy, but sleigh boy because he looks like Santa, and Santa would be in a sled, and it's crazy. But you get it. You get it. I'm in big trouble. If you're able to name another Christmas movie where they pull off an amazing walk dance routine to ZZ Top's "Give Me All Your Lovin'," I would have to call you a liar, because nothing can top this scene right here as we hear ZZ Top's "Give Me All Your Lovin'" and Santa Claus and his entourage are walking down, getting ready for the sleigh ride. Charlie's mom assumes that Scott has kidnapped Charlie since he's no longer going to have visitation rights because they think that he's milking the idea of being Santa to play with Charlie's affection. So Charlie's mom panics. She calls the police. The police round up all the Santa Clauses that they can... Santa Clauses? Santa Clauses? Santa Claus? Santas? Santas. The police round up all the Santas they can find in the area, which results in this lineup where Charlie's mom has to identify which one is Scott. And clearly, as you can see, this is the easiest lineup because I can tell right away that Scott is number 3. That's clearly Scott. Number 3. It's number 3. Or is it 5? Could be 5. It's 3 or 5. Scott is definitely 3 or 5. I'm almost 100% certain. 75% sure that it's 3 or 5, with a 25% chance that it's 3 or 5. Yeah. Definitely 3 or 5. Or 5 and 3. The police officer working the counter asks the Elves and Charlie, who's there to free his dad, and the Elves are there to free their boss, Santa Claus, "Who are you guys?" To which the homeboy elf responds, "We're your worst nightmare. Elves with attitude." Am I the only one that sees the amazing potential here? Dr. Dre has got to sign these kids up. Well, I apologize, not kids. Dr. Dre's got to sign these elves up. Can you imagine the amazing tour of Elves with Attitude along with NWA? Can you imagine that? Sold out. Santa Claus taught me also, not Santa Claus, but the film, The Santa Claus, taught me, if there's a chance that you ever think that you might get arrested, definitely make sure that you have some tinsel on your person hidden, because tinsel cuts through prison bars like butter. One of the best moments of the film is when Scott Calvin completely completes, what? When Scott Calvin completes the metamorphosis into Santa Claus and he realizes the important things have been there all along: family, his son, love and respect. He becomes a better father. He becomes a better ex-husband and partner. He becomes a better friend. It's Charlie's love and belief in him that helps Scott find that better person within him. With Scott fully embracing the role of Santa, he has definitely become a better man, a better person, and he cares about others before he cares about himself. And it's a great metamorphosis to see Scott from the beginning of the film to where he is at the end, where he fully accepts what his destiny is and the new person that he's become. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see other videos like it, all you have to do is hit the YouTube button in the bottom corner. You'll subscribe to my channel and you'll get a notification anytime I upload a new video. As always, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to talk about these things that I'm passionate about. Please be safe, be careful, and I'll talk to you soon.